I don't think you need to know the introduction anymore at this point. You've read the title. Kidding, of course. The topic we're going to discuss today is whether social media is a good influence on us overall, or whether we need social media and what it's good for, and if it's just in general a good thing for us, for our society. And this is a pretty packed and a loaded question, and a complex question requires a complex answer. And I hope to cram it in all in 15 minutes because I don't want to bore your minds speaking about that for hours. And I think this is something what you don't really want to hear from a lot of philosophers, a lot of people. And it's definitely a new lifestyle for us. It's a lifestyle that didn't exist, I would say, 30 to 40 years ago, and only came into existence around early 2000s. 2010 really started to pick up the steam, and ever since then, we've been using it like every day, every single minute, and a lot of phone addictions came to be, a lot of social media addictions came to be, and especially kids are highly targeted, and unfortunately a lot of kids are also influenced by a lot of things. And since we know that kids are very impressionable, or let's say they have a very vivid mind, a very vivid experience, that anything that they see can be highly impressive for them. And I don't mean impressive like, wow, this is a cool thing, but I mean like in every sense, in every literal sense. And it's an easy way, or it's a good tool to manipulate people, and especially children, and to target young children, to, prey on them or whatsoever, basically. And this is something that we're going to discuss today, and I hope you also think about that and let me know what you think in the comment section down below, because I'm very curious about your opinion. I appreciate it very much, and I appreciate that you guys put a lot of effort into writing long statements, and I read them through and as much as I can, and I answer them accordingly. So I think we have to start off by saying that everything is being digitalized, so meaning that a lot of things that we used to do back in the early days and even in the 20th century are now all on your phones and your computers. And unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on how you want to look at it, we have everything there, and it definitely made our lives easier. But at the same token, it comes with a lot of certain particular consequences, as with everything else. I don't want to make it sound like it's a new thing or anything like that. I mean, it's been already around for a good solid 15, 20, 30 years. And I must say that I'm referring more to the phones, to the tablets, to the computers, rather than the overall technology advancement that we've experienced or witnessed in the last 30, 40 years. And I'm primarily going to target Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, all these other medias, whatever you can imagine, that have influenced a lot of people, have influenced a lot of minds of people. And I have to start off with saying that the use of technology, when we talk about technology doesn't really, it's neither good or bad. I would say that change is actually neutral. Change is not positive, not negative, it's purely neutral. Why? It is neutral because it doesn't have anything in it of itself in essence. So there's no good or bad in it. It is how we use it or how we interpret things that makes it good or bad. So we can use a certain technology for our goodness sake or for our evil sake. And some of you might say now, well, medical advancement is very good, so how can change be neutral? Well, you can use medicine for evil things as well. You can poison people. You can purposely put some drugs in your cup and poison people and kill them. But at the same time, you can also create good drugs. You can create good medicines that will heal people, right? So that is a good thing. And again, this is kind of the point I'm trying to make here, that change is neither good nor bad. And it depends on how we use technology. It depends on how we use social media. And I believe right now, social media has degraded a lot of people currently in this modern day and age. I also believe that a lot of people, especially young kids, have become way too addicted to phones to the point of simply not going outside anymore, not interacting face to face with other people anymore. A lot of kids have, or just people in general, I would say, or at least the youth. So I'm talking like, ages between 12 to 25 maybe. And I think a lot of people have unlearned to actually communicate properly with people face to face, and not just the communication, but also the interests and the overall ambition, motivation. All these sorts of things have really been lost in those young people, young kids especially. And again, technology can be used in a good and a bad way. Now, when I talk about the idea of degradation of people, I don't mean it in a way that people have become, let's say, retarded or people in special needs, if you want to be politically correct, but I'm not politically correct, so I mean retarded basically. And I don't really mean that. What I mean is more the fact that people have lost the ability to operate in the world accordingly. And to be even more precise, I mean that people have become so simplistic, have become so simpletons to the point of that the moment internet is cut off, or the moment that computers don't work anymore, the tablets don't work anymore, anything that has to do with technology that is finished, that doesn't work, people are lost. So if you put some random Gen Z dude out in the forest, he's not going to make it out alive, basically. That's kind of what I'm trying to say here. And people have become so dependent upon all these technologies, especially social media and all these computers and blah, 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 to the point of that they don't think for themselves anymore, that the computer thinks for them. And this is what I'm primarily afraid of, that people do not think for themselves anymore, but rather that computers and AI, or I would say other people, are going to think for them. But this is more of an epistemological conundrum rather than a technological conundrum. But this is more of a separate topic. I'm not going to touch politics right now. And furthermore, social media has a huge impact, a huge influence on the children primarily, because they're very impressionable. Or let's say you can easily impress children. And I don't mean impress as in like, wow, this is a cool thing, or wow, something is awesome. I mean impressionable in every literal sense. So, people, or in particular kids in their early days, they become very impressed of many things that they see, and they're very sensational. And whatever they see on the internet, whatever they read or watch or listen to, becomes very ingrained in their minds quickly. And that's why it's very important for young children to not become so influenced, or not to be so influenced by all these kind of contents that are spinning around in the world, in the current social media environment, so to speak. And I think also there was an example, I was actually just reading this morning, actually, unfortunately, that a young influencer, about a 27-year-old young lady, died. She fell off the cliff because she was trying to take a video or some kind of picture in front of some environment, some place. And the point I'm trying to make, or the reason why I'm bringing up this example, just kind of shows how obsessed we are with impressing people and with sharing so many contents, so many different contents, that when kids see this, they think that this is something that they can try or should try. And unfortunately, a lot of cases happen where, influencers die just because they want to take a very hot or amazing selfie of them, standing on the edge of the cliff, and, 2 seconds later, the wind blows them a little bit and they fall off the cliff and die. And this is something that I'm trying to explain, or trying to say, that kids see these things and they don't really understand the background of that. They don't understand the meaning behind it. They don't understand the consequences, and so on and so forth. That's why I believe that parenting is highly important, and that, kids receive a certain amount of check, let's say. But I'm not a parent, so I'm not here to really, speak on behalf of all parents, just to get it straight. I also must say that communication style has changed a lot. So people forgot how to talk properly. People don't know how to be formal, how to, dress nicely. And I know this might not have to do with social media. per se in like directly, but indirectly it does have an influence, because it also influences the way that we should dress. And when people see how other people dress, then they think that this is a trend and this is some kind of mode that we have to abide to and wear certain clothes. And again, just the communication style. Like I said, there was an example, I think in the Netherlands, you can correct me on that, where there was a church that decided to experiment and say that we will not have any phones in the church for about 3-4 hours, and we'll have certain activities instead. So playing chess, playing board games, simply talking to people. And a lot of people had to put phones on the side, or they had like a basket where they would collect phones, and so you couldn't use the phones anymore. And in the end, a lot of people enjoyed it, actually. And it was very refreshing for them. And I kind of hope that in some ways that we kind of do it ourselves, that we kind of do this, let's say, this detox phase for maybe a couple days or even a couple hours is enough. And I understand that a lot of things are connected to our phones and that it's highly impossible to be without the phone for one solid day for 24 hours is very difficult. I'm aware of that. And there are a lot of things that are intertwined with your business, with your friends, with your family, with your whatever else you got going. Totally understand it. But I really wish sometimes that we kind of detoxed from it a little bit and just refreshed our brains, rebooted ourselves, went out in the nature, enjoyed the fresh air a little bit, spend time with your dog or cat, your loved ones, your family, whatsoever, and just kind of forget about all the reels, all the Instagram reels, all the YouTube reels that you watch and scroll mindlessly every day. It's not healthy. It's really not healthy. So to conclude the whole subject, the whole question, social media, like I said in the beginning, social media can be used for the good and for the bad. It can be used for the good to influence people positively, so positive content. But at the same token, a lot of people also misuse it, and a lot of people share fake content. And this idea that we have to fact check everything, yeah, I don't believe that, because it's very biased, it's very judgmental, it's very one-sided. And I don't believe in this so-called superior fact checker who fact checks everything. But I also believe at the same token that they are just literally fake content outside in this world or in this platform that exists. And you should, call them out appropriately and accordingly. But, you shouldn't really fall for the trap of believing that fact checkers, because they're often done so by the government, and how the government operates, really. So I wouldn't really fall for that. What I'm trying to say is that that technology is essentially technology, and it is really up to you how to use it accordingly. If you want to use it for business purposes, absolutely go for it. Do it. Promote good stuff, promote good content, healthy content. Share your knowledge and wisdom and experience with other people. Let them see it and let them decide what is good for them, what is not good for them. But you also can't really fight the algorithms at this point, and it's kind of pointless to be mad about, when you see naked ladies on Instagram or stupid content that exists on Instagram or Facebook. Basically the best thing that you can do, or the only thing that you can do, is simply not watch it, avoid it. As simple as that. A lot of people, I would say baby boomers, a lot of, older generation people like to complain about that there's so much crap on this internet going on. I totally get it, and I'm also against it, but at the same time, like, you're good luck fighting the algorithms at this point. There's so many people who are so brainwashed, so addicted to it, that you don't really want to even touch it. And the best thing that you can also do is to reduce your phone usage throughout the week, to not use it all the time. If you're in the toilet, or if you're at work somewhere, or if you're with your friends, especially your family, especially, God forbid, don't do that, because this is a big negative point for a lot of people. This is a sign of disrespect, and it just shows that you're not interested in communicating with the people. And this is exactly the problem. What I'm trying to say here is that people don't communicate properly anymore, don't communicate well. And yeah, all in all, social media can be good, can be bad for us. Depends on how you see it. And of course, what answer did you expect from this video? Because this is a philosophical answer, the philosophical discussion. There's no right or wrong, really. Just a few points that I mentioned. So of course, let me know what you think about. Highly curious to read some of your comments. And as always, I appreciate your support. Make sure you leave a like, subscribe, and see you in the next video. Have a good one.